What's up, y'all? Another Sabbath day Torah reading, Genesis 42. Now Jacob saw that there was grain in Egypt, and Jacob said to his sons, "Why are you staring at one another?" He said, "Behold, I have heard that there is grain in Egypt. Go down there and buy some for us from that place, so that we may live and not die." Now, in the type and shadow, if you watch my last video, this is during the 7 years of famine, representing the 7-year tribulation. And the grain, or the bread, would represent the word of God. So go down there and buy some for us, so that we may live. The word of God gives life. Jesus gives life. And as you see what happens in this story, Joseph represents Jesus. And he was sent ahead of his brothers. He was sold into slavery. They were going to kill him. He was sold into slavery. He was sent ahead of them by God to save them, just like Jesus. Then 10 brothers of Joseph went down to buy grain from Egypt. But Jacob did not send Joseph's brother Benjamin with his brothers, for he said, "I am afraid that harm may befall him." So the sons of Israel came to buy grain among those who were coming, for the famine was in the land of Canaan also, in the whole world. It's like the tribulation is going to be in the whole world, severe. Now Joseph was ruler over all the land. It's like Jesus is ruler over all the land. He was the one who sold to all the people of the land. Just like Jesus gives the life. Jesus is the bread of life. Gives the bread, gives the word. And Joseph's brothers came and bowed down to him with their faces to the ground. It's like everyone's going to bow down to Jesus. And they representing believers. And Jews, which are going to eventually bow down to Jesus. When Joseph saw his brothers, he recognized them, but he disguised himself to them and spoke to them harshly. Just like when Jesus came to this earth, he saw his brothers, the Jews, and he recognized them, he knew them. But he disguised himself to them. For the longest time, he wouldn't tell them he was the Son of God. And he spoke to them harshly. He rebuked them. And he said to them, "Where have you come from?" And they said, "From the land of Canaan to buy food." Joseph had recognized his brothers, although they did not recognize him. It's like with Jesus, like I just said. He knew his brothers. He recognized them. But they didn't recognize him. They didn't recognize him as the Messiah. Joseph remembered the dreams which he had about them and said, "You are spies. You have come to look at the undefended parts of our land." Then they said to him, "No, my lord, but your servants have come to buy food. We are all sons of one man. We are honest men. Your servants are not spies." Yet he said to them, "No, but you have come to look at the undefended parts of our land." But they said, "Your servants are 12 brothers in all, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. And behold, the youngest is with our father today, and one is no longer alive. The youngest is with our father today, maybe representing small portion of the believers saved out of this time tribulation. Joseph said to them, "It is as I said to you, you are spies. By this you will be tested. By the life of Pharaoh," representing God the Father, "you shall not go from this place unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one of you that he may get your brother while you remain confined, that your words may be tested, whether there is truth in you. But if not, by the life of Pharaoh, surely you are spies." So he put them all together in prison for 3 days. Just like we're all together in this world for 3 days. Within 3 days, Jesus is coming back. Within 3,000 years from his first coming. After 2. Very soon, Jesus is coming back. And we're in prison on this earth. This isn't our true home. Now Joseph said to them on the 3rd day, "Do this and live, for I fear God. If you are honest men, let one of your brothers be confined in your prison. But as for the rest of you, go carry grain for the famine of your households, and bring your youngest brother to me, so your words may be verified, and you will not die." And they did so. And they said to one another, "Truly we are guilty concerning our brother." The Jews recognizing Jesus, because we saw the distress of his soul when he pleaded with us. Yet we would not listen. Therefore this distress has come upon us. See, the Jews wouldn't listen to Jesus. Now the distress is going to come upon them. It's going to come upon the whole world. Reuben answered them, saying, "Did I not tell you? Do not sin against the boy." And you would not listen. Now comes the reckoning for his blood. See, they sinned against Jesus. They killed him. Now comes the reckoning for his blood. They did not know, however, that Joseph understood, for there was an interpreter between them. He turned away from them and wept. But when he returned to them and spoke to them, he took Simeon from them and bound him before their eyes. Then Joseph gave orders to fill their bags with grain and restore every man's money in his sack. Just like Jesus is going to restore everything to us. And to give them provisions for the journey. And thus it was done for them. So they loaded their donkeys with their grain and departed from there. As one of them opened his sack to give his donkey fodder at the lodging place, he saw his money, and behold, it was in the mouth of his sack. Then he said to his brothers, "My money has been returned, and behold, it is even in my sack." Their hearts sank, and they turned trembling to one another, saying, "What is this that God has done to us?" When they came to their father Jacob in the land of Canaan, they told him all that had happened to them, saying, "The man, the Lord of the land, spoke harshly with us, and he took us for spies of the country. But we said to him, We are honest men, we are not spies. We are 12 brothers, sons of our father. One is no longer alive, and the youngest is with our father today in the land of Canaan. The man, the Lord of the land, said to us, By this I will know that you are honest men. Leave one of your brothers with me, and take grain for the famine of your households, and go. But bring your youngest brother to me, that I may know that you are not spies, but honest men. I will give your brother to you, and you may trade in the land. Now it came about as they were emptying their sacks, that behold, every man's bundle of money was in their sack. And when they and their father saw the bundles of money, they were dismayed. Their father Jacob said to them, You have bereaved me of my children. Joseph is no more, and Simeon is no more. And you would take Benjamin? All these things are against me. Then Reuben spoke to his father, saying, You may put my 2 sons to death if I do not bring him back to you. Put him in my care, and I will return him to you. But Jacob said, My son shall not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he alone is left. If harm should befall him on the journey you are taking, then you will bring my gray hair down to Sheol in sorrow. That's one of the few times in the Bible Sheol is translated as Sheol. Most of the times it's translated hell. And there's no distinction. They didn't want to say that, they didn't want to make it look like Jacob was going to hell. But Sheol, most of the time in the Bible, hell is Sheol. And that's the resting place of the dead. Not a burning hell. But everyone's in the resting place of the dead, separating good and bad, until the resurrection. Then the good are resurrected to life, the bad are resurrected to judgment and a lake of fire. But that's the end of Genesis 42. May God bless you guys.